All right, well, welcome back to Exhaust Sports Auto. My name is Kevin, and I am inside of the 2013 Lexus GS450h, the #1 most requested Lexus on this channel. So if you appreciate this, definitely Team ESA, press that like button, subscribe, do all those things that help this channel grow, because the wonderful people who lent us this vehicle is actually Anchor Auto Outlet in Cary, North Carolina. So support those that support the channel, because that definitely helps out the channel in general, right, to get more vehicles like this. And they have been extremely generous. They gave us the ES350, and they are just more than welcome to have me back at any time. So I really appreciate them. At the bare minimum, definitely check out their website, which I will leave in the description box below if you're interested in one of their vehicles, or if you just want to see like what I can potentially work on next. So huge shout out to them. And with that, let's just get right into this video. All right, and I think with this, I've pretty much exhausted every sedan in the Lexus lineup. I think I've driven all of them on camera except for all of the SUVs like the RX, but no worries, they have an RX here as well, so I can definitely get my hands on that, no worries at all. Now this GS450, this is a hybrid vehicle. It essentially replaces the V8 actually in the GS lineup, or that's kind of what it's supposed to do, similar to how the Lexus LS460 or the LS600 replaces a V12 essentially. And I've actually reviewed the 2013 LS460, so it'd be interesting to see. But actually, I've also, not on camera, but I have driven the 2016 GS350 with the F Sport package. So I have actually driven this vehicle before, but it just wasn't like a review that I did on camera. But this is a hybrid, and this is what a lot of you wanted to see. This is actually a very unique vehicle, because this isn't just like a hybrid, like a Prius, if you will. There's actually a sporting intention with this vehicle. It's a proper luxury sedan, of course. Double wishbone suspension up front, multi-link in the rear. It's actually made it to a V6 engine actually, so that's something very special. So that's kind of why it replaces the V8, because it's got 338 horsepower, 360 odd pound-feet of torque. Those are some legitimate numbers, and this is actually supposed to be faster than just your everyday typical GS350, you know what I mean? As I'm just kind of doing, everyday maneuvers in this, like a U-turn and all that, the braking in this is actually very normal. It's obviously got regenerative braking. It's got, a CVT transmission. And guess what? None of this stuff feels strange or out of place actually. Buying a Toyota Lexus hybrid makes a lot of sense, because Toyota has just been killing it with the hybrid game. They have the most proven hybrid technology system, I guess you could say, ever. It started with the Prius, and this is going to be the most reliable hybrid system. This is actually the only hybrid luxury vehicle that I would actually personally trust, because they have that experience building millions of Prius cars. And having a hybrid version of every Lexus, I think is pretty cool, because you get the relatively awesome looks of this rear-wheel drive GS with a really, practical, economical package, and this thing is used. It's got 98,000 miles on it. We're going to see once we finally, when this, light turns green, I actually have this thing out on the road, just kind of how solid it is, because I know that's how it's going to be, because I've driven so many of these things now with over 100K plus miles, and they just all feel great to me. Well, certainly it handles like a GS, so that's good. Braking feels really natural in this thing. I love that. So kind of launching it from a line here. Yeah, dude, this the CVT, the way it pulls, it's actually really not bad. Actually, I'm liking this more than I thought, because yeah, it's a hybrid, so you can expect some strangeness with it, but actually this is turning out to be a pretty natural experience for the most part in this kind of peak levels of traffic, I guess. But that's okay, because this is real life, so it's fine that we're sitting in some traffic. It's a good time for me to, I guess, skip over the driving and just talk about the interior segment, because this interior is absolutely stunning. This actually might be one of my most favorite Lexus interiors, because aside from the LC500, but aside from that, just normal Lexus cars, I love just the layout of it. Forget just how well built it is. Just I love the design language of this bamboo wood. That's very unique. I don't think many cars have a bamboo wood offered in it, but this one does, and it looks stupendous. I love kind of this again, triple tone color design that this thing has going on with the white seats. I don't know, it's not like a super black, but it's kind of got like a hint of blue to it. I'm not sure if it does or if my eyes are deceiving me, but you know, it's got that going on, this black, and again, the white with this like really bright bamboo wood. It's really special. It has some nice aluminum trimmings here. Nice clock, of course, you know, that's fantastic. Can't go wrong with that. Switch gear in here feels phenomenal, like it does in every single Lexus actually. Tactile feel of, you know, all the buttons, that's strong. I like that. It actually shows all of the temperatures here separated from this screen, which this has like this huge, like I believe the 12-inch screen out of the LS, I guess, from this generation. But all this works perfectly. Of course, no stupid check engine lights or anything like that. It has the large screens kind of split here to show you kind of like the engine, trans, and like, you know, how it's kind of refueling the battery, I guess, because it has all that regenerative technology. So that's pretty good. Gauges, you know, no tachometer. It's got that charge, eco, power, you know, spectrum, I guess. So that's interesting. That's kind of what you get out of a hybrid vehicle. Yeah, I'm surprised at the balls that this thing has. Like, this is extremely good. Very effortless power coming out of this vehicle. You know, the ride is actually really smooth in here. You know, this thing, it does weigh a bit. You know, it's close to about 4,200 pounds. This is like the heaviest GS, and you know, people are like, oh, it's going to be like the less dynamic or whatever. I believe the regular GS, like the 350, weighs about 4,800 pounds, something like that. So it's about 400 pounds with the battery and all that. But this gets up and goes like far better than the regular GS350 does. That is no joke for sure. Very effortless power. The CVT is stupendous. I'm surprised they nailed it this well for a CVT back in like 2013, because this is about like close to 7 years ago this vehicle was made. So very impressed with that. Of course, the vehicle's going to shut down on you when you come to a stop, but actually that's appropriate for this hybrid. Usually I hate auto stop start functions like gasoline powered cars, but I totally don't mind it in this car. I will say, like, the steering kind of has like a strange, like, you know, weight to it. It feels kind of heavy at like really slow speeds. I don't mind it. It's just something I noticed. You know, it's not really typical of most other just regular gasoline powered Lexus cars I've driven, but this is very nice. I do enjoy this. And you do have modes here to select. It's got a Sport S mode actually, and that does make this car extremely eager. You know what? I'll say this. I actually liked the Genesis G80 more than I did the 2016 F Sport GS I drove. Mind you, this is not like an F Sport or anything like that, but this definitely pulls harder than both the old GS350 that I drove and also the Genesis G80, actually, with the 3.8 liter V6. This definitely is like a V8 replacement for sure. It's definitely got like V8 levels of thrust to it. You're going to be strangely satisfied driving this car, and actually, even over some of this choppy pavement, rides really good. And actually, I'm not surprised, because this actually rides even better than the GS350 because it's got a bit more weight to it. So it kind of just absorbs the bumps actually a little bit better. I definitely prefer this to just a normal 350, I think. Yeah, very nice car. Over those bumps, dude, no creaks and rattles. Just like in literally every other 100K mile Lexus I've driven. Super solid in here. That's not even remotely close to being an issue. Getting in this and driving this, you're not going to be able to tell the difference between this and like a brand spanking new Lexus off the showroom floor. It is literally that well built in here, and literally no real like wear and tear on the vehicle like whatsoever. Another thing that I really like that Lexus does is that this is not intimidating to drive whatsoever. The same goes for the LS. You know, these like larger vehicles, these larger sedans, they are so easy to pilot. You know, it doesn't feel like extremely large and like, you know, gargantuan on the roads. Very simple to pilot, no real issues there. It's just a nice like boss feeling car, you know. It's just, you feel like a legit like executive driving these cars. Like, this is a very special place to be. Just this is it has like a design language and swagger that's just totally different from like a German car. It's just something you gotta like experience, man. One thing I just noticed here, got some paddles here. It's very interesting. don't really care for it, honestly. In this car, I just like to just cruise in automatic and just put my foot down into it. You know, it's seamless, like the way the engine actually starts up. I do enjoy that, actually. Just a really smooth, just well executed vehicle that I think anybody can really just appreciate. And I know everyone's going to be able to appreciate that throttle pedal. That's for damn sure. Just put this bad boy back into normal. There's just no need for that right here. This GS, like, it is that sports sedan actually in Lexus's lineup, I guess, like this and the IS. And it does feel like it. And so because of that, it's like 2% firmer than like what you would get in like an ES or something like that. It's not like the most like kind of cushiony kind of ride, but it's just really damn comfortable, you know. I would say something like a G80 would probably ride a little bit better. I would probably say that, yeah, the ES Lexus, obviously the LS Lexus is going to ride just a tad bit better, but this is really freaking comfortable for what it is, and I really appreciate it. I think like what I like the most about it is that it just isn't unnatural in any way. This is like the most natural feeling electric vehicle I've ever experienced. It's like an electric car with like a soul to it, essentially. But I guess my biggest concern with this car was definitely the trans. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about that CVT, but this is just really damn nice. It doesn't even sound that stupid, actually, and I got to check out some of that handling here for sure. It's got some new Michelin, so it's got some nice grip to it. I appreciate that. Slight bit of wind noise when you get up to speed, but that's kind of expected. Even the LS has that, to be completely honest with you, so I'm not really tripping over it, but just thought I would mention it. Definitely not enough to, you know, bother me in any way. Yeah, really superb. I really love the way this is set up. You know, being a V6 is definitely going to be smoother than some stupid 4-cylinder. It's going to sound better as well, so very cool. Obviously, no real, you know, exhaust note coming from this car. That's to be expected. You just have a nice, like, induction sound that Lexus is kind of really good at doing. So, you know, driving-wise, I really don't have much to complain about, you know. It's a really good car. This is something to really consider in the used car market. This hybrid, you're going to be getting like over 40 plus mpg driving this thing around. If you drove it like a normal human, it'll even, you know, drive around in like, you know, electric only for a little bit, so that's pretty cool. Driving wise, I really approve of this car. This is really nice. How do I feel about this compared to my beloved G80? It's really good, dude. It's up there, honestly, with the G80. You absolutely have to have like a Lexus product, and you like that rear-wheel drive dynamic. Very unique. It's not something that you're gonna find often, you know. It's not a very common setup, so definitely for those reasons, check this vehicle out without a doubt. As far as for the interior segment goes, you know, I talked about it briefly, you know, while I was kind of stationary at some lights. Really well laid out. This is similar to most other Lexus cars, actually very similar to the LS, if anything. Equally as solid in here, so that's great. A lot of people like to, you know, moan and complain about this system that Lexus has created here with the, I forget what it's called, but this whole mouse pad situation here. I personally, I really don't care, you know, just connect your phone to it, listen to your music, and just be quiet. Like, it's really not a big deal. You shouldn't be screwing with this when you drive anyway, which is why I'm really not. So I'm not too worried about that. I think you can get used to it if you actually own this vehicle. Sound system was actually pretty nice. I did test that earlier. Rear seating is absolutely excellent. Just obviously not like an LS, but very good. You know, I'm not crossing my legs back there or anything like that, but you know, I definitely fit, plenty of headroom. That's not an issue. The trunk space, it opens up like an LS does. It's like really wide, very practical space. Golf club's not an issue. It's not like as deep as the LS though, but it's not really a huge issue. Massive trunk, very useful. I really appreciate it. But yeah, if you want to hear some complaints about this car, I mean, really, there's not really much. Like, for what it is, I can't really find much to complain about. I guess, like, you know, it's not like a Rolls Royce where it just soaks up every single bump. It's still like a sporty-ish sedan. So if you want the car to, you know, ride really well, the ES is definitely like tuned way towards like comfort, but you're going to lose out on the driving dynamics. This is still comfortable as hell. Like, It's really well done, especially I believe this thing probably has like 18 or 19-inch wheels, so not bad at all. It does have a very superb just kind of dynamic to it, you know, bit of body roll, but really not bad for a 4,200-pound car. I appreciate the handling and stability of this at speed, so no real complaints from me. The CVT, I think a lot of people should be able to appreciate this. It doesn't really simulate gears like it does in like the Kia Hyundai stuff, like the new ones, but it just does a really good job of just not feeling stupid, I guess. So I don't mind this whole setup at all for everyday street driving. It's got obviously like the powered, you know, seats. You got memory seats, of course. You got the one touch up and down window switches. That's phenomenal. I love that. You know, if you put the car into reverse, the mirrors do fold up and down, so I do like that a lot. That's great. Plenty of storage space in here, which is phenomenal, similar to an LS actually. This car actually reminds me more so of like a sportier, better driving LS actually. Would I actually take it over an LS? To be honest, it's something to consider. You know, if you don't like the gas mileage that you're pretty much going to get with an LS 460, definitely maybe consider looking into this, because this is going to give you a lot of that, except there's just a far more sense of just stability out of this car and just a better driving dynamic overall compared to my LS 460 anyway from 08. The 2013 one drives pretty nice and does have a pretty, you know, engaging kind of feel to it, but not like this. I think this actually drives even a bit better, so something to look into actually. But with that definitely covers my review for the 2013 GS450. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, definitely leave your comments down below, and a like, a subscribe. You know, that would help out a lot as well. And definitely check out Anchor Auto Outlet, because they've been very kind enough to, you know, just give us all these vehicles to review and check out. So huge shout out to them. And again, their website information will be down in the description box below. Owners of this car, you know, let me know how it's held up for you. Definitely, everybody, you know, feel free to comment your thoughts below and your ownership experience. So thank you very much for watching. Take care. Goodbye.